right, well, we are here today at the Goodwill. I am in a U-Haul van. Looks like I could possibly be in a police car. I am not. It's a U-Haul van. We are here today. We're about to head in and see what we can find that we can buy and flip for a profit. So, are we ready?
Go for it.
He's going to hang out here in the car. He's just not into it. So, he's going to sit out here in the hot, miserable car. And I'm going to go find the treasure. Here we go. As soon as I walked in this Goodwill, I kind of made a beeline for the shelf with all of the vases because it was full of glass and I'm a huge fan of glass. This was the first piece I picked up and I grabbed it because it had this Scavo texture on the outside. It was $2.49. I wasn't really sure about it, but I grabbed it and I stuck it in my cart. I ended up putting it back at one point, but I was just kind of, maybe that's a good piece. And then the more I thought about it, I just really wasn't that into it. This piece on the bottom was $7.49. It was very heavy. You can see there on the bottom, it has a sticker for $49.95. I was kind of thrown by this piece. I wasn't sure if it was really good quality and that's why it had the weight. But in any case, I stuck it in my cart. And then I found this little storyteller doll. I'm not sure if there are marks underneath that sticker there. I didn't get a chance to look, but I loved her eyes. I thought she was very fun. Here in the back, there is another art glass piece. It had this swirl design. I wasn't really all that impressed with this piece, and so I ended up putting this back down there on the bottom shelf. This shelving always makes me really nervous. I feel like everything just wants to fall over. I liked the color of this little planter here, but I really didn't get a sense for value. And then here in the back, this one was interesting, and there was a marking on the bottom. It's not one that I recognize, and I had a hard time with it because it was so smudged. In the way back, I noticed this etched piece, and so I decided to pull this one out. It was kind of like a honeycomb etch there, and it had a sticker on it. I believe it was Home Interiors or Home Essentials or something like that. And so I ended up reaching back and putting that back. Now this was a piece I should have gone with my gut. I had a feeling about this. It was $4.94. I think the made in China scared me off. And after having looked it up now that I'm at home, I should have grabbed it because it retails between $50 and $70. And I set it back because I was like, it's made in China. Maybe it's not that great. And I just should have gone with my gut. But you know what? It is what it is. Someone else will grab it and they'll get a good deal on it. So there's enough for everyone. These pieces right here, I've come across these before in canister form, and the canisters do really well. And so I spotted these on the shelf, although now I'm seeing there's a crack or a chip on one of those salt and pepper shakers. I decided to grab these just because I know the canisters do well, and I figured I would give these a try. Little creamer there. Now this vase looked like it could have some age, but the petals were all chipped up. And this was surprisingly heavy. I wasn't sure at first if it was pressed glass, but when I picked it up, I realized that this was blown glass. It had a really neat design to it, and even though it was clear, I liked the weight of it, and I felt like it was a decent piece. The praying hands. I win. Even though I'm playing by myself. And then I spotted this. And it was hiding in the back there. When I pulled it out, you can see the shell design there, and on the back, it's missing its original sticker, but it still says Karak there on the back. This is not a Karak tray that I've seen before. Typically, these trays sell for $25 to $45 on average. There are exceptions to the rule. There are some that sell better than others, but on average, I'm usually looking at $25 to $35. So I pick those up when I can find them at a decent price. This was made in Czechoslovakia. I recognized it right away. We've done a lot with Czechoslovakia pottery over the last year. And even though I liked it, I left it there. These were curious, and I was surprised that these were not signed. I'm not sure what exactly the purpose was. There was a cavity on either end, and I wasn't sure if it was a vase that you could switch up. I wasn't really sure. This one in the back, I turned it over, and you could see there it does have a modern sticker on the bottom. This was similar to the other one in that there were two separate cavities. I think that one may have been a goblet. And then back here, the Dala horse. Now, IKEA has some limited edition Dala horses, and I'm not familiar with all of them. And so for just a few dollars, I decided to give this one a try. There was a fun, colorful little fish here in the back. I suspect this could be an ashtray. And this was an adorable little Japanese piano baby figurine. Some Cat's Meow houses. I sold quite a few of those recently, and they can do decent in lots. But I'm being a little bit picky today. I don't need to take everything with me. Now, this I wasn't really sure of. This I grabbed because it kind of reminded me of Sitka clay and also Juanita ware. It was this very strange marbleized glaze, and because I wasn't sure of it, I stuck it in my cart. I do this a lot where I'm just not sure of something and I stick it in my cart and decide to figure it out later. This, I believe, could be Viking glass. It was $2.49. It is a candlestick holder. And I believe that is some sort of candlestick as well. This had that same etched design on the outside as that Home Essentials vase I picked up earlier, but it had a chip on it. And then I found these, and I just really wasn't sure. You guys know I'm on a quest for glassy babies. I'm thinking these are not glassy babies, but I would have been so annoyed if I left them behind, and everyone in the comments was like, those were glassy babies, you left them. And so I just grabbed them for 99 cents each and stuck them in my cart. I bought them. They're really nice votives. They're art glass, and I'm really hoping they're glassy babies, but I don't know. I'm on a mission. This I thought was jeweled Lenox. You can see it is damaged there, however. On the bottom, it said Formalities by Baum Brothers. So it was not jeweled Lenox, but it was very similar. This is the point where I put this vase back because I just decided, you know what? I don't believe that this is anything real special. It does have that Scavo texture, but I think it's just a modern piece. This I liked, but you can see on the inside where it is ground down, and it may have had a stopper. So since it doesn't have a stopper anymore, I left it. And I liked the little sprinkles on the outside of that. What can I say? Now, since I'm kind of all over the place, I'm trying to figure out what aisles I've gone down and what aisles I have not. This was an aisle that I have yet to go down, and you can see here, these kind of had a mid-century look to them. They were from Japan. It appeared there were only 3. 2 dinner plates and a larger serving plate. These were almost a red transfer. On the bottom, they said early days, Vernon ware. I don't typically pick up dinnerware, but occasionally I will make an exception. So I decided to just look and see if there was anything that caught my eye. Those checkered plates better not be Mackenzie Childs. Because I went right by him. This was actually here the last time I visited, so it was interesting to see that it was still there. And then, of course, I spotted this. And for some reason, Temptations always reminds me of Polish pottery. I always get the two confused. And so for a moment, I was like, oh, Polish, no, Temptations. There we go. This was adorable in the back, and it was signed on the bottom. It is a mark I am familiar with, but I cannot remember it. I believe I've sold pieces similar to this in the past. Hopefully I don't regret setting it right back there on the shelf. There in the top, there was a piece of glass. It looked like it could be Italian, just the shape of it. I considered setting it back down just because I was like, you know what? But the more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know what, this would look really cool on a side table filled with Murano fruit or something like that. And so I started visualizing it, and then I just couldn't set it back down. We've got some art pottery, and this piece was signed on the bottom with an initial. And this piece, I liked the glazing pattern on it. It was $4.49. You can see it signed on the bottom. My concern was just that it was very heavy and very large. It was a bit too much to ship, and it wasn't really a piece that we would stick in our booth. It's just not the aesthetic that we're going for in our booth, and so I left it there. But as I was setting it back down, of course, I noticed, well, this decanter, which I found a better spot for, right there, front and center. And then this beautiful porcelain china dish. And that also has a marking on the bottom. It was $3.49. There's a tile there as well, which briefly caught my eye. I checked this over to see if there was any chips on it. And then I set it in my cart. Now this piece, the butterflies, caught my eye, and you can see on the bottom here it is Andrea by Sadik. Occasionally I will pick these pieces up, occasionally I leave them behind. Today I left it behind, but I really did like the butterflies. This sweet little cat here was not marked on the bottom. It was carved from wood. I believe it's just to hold little notes or something to that effect. We've got a little fish dish. I was hoping there would be a signature on the bottom, but I almost suspect it would have had a Made in China sticker or Made in Japan. And then, of course, I breezed through the Christmas. This little lady caught my eye. I believe she is a Red Hat Society figurine. She was kind of neat. There wasn't a whole lot in the Christmas, unfortunately. But then I found this little casket box, and it was $2.49. You could see it had its original insides, although they were a little bit worse for wear. But it did have the original stuffing and whatnot in there. You can see some of the finishes worn off, but this is an older piece, so it's kind of expected. There is a mold mark on it, and it was just a cute little dainty size, perfect for rings. I couldn't walk by with at least picking up the art glass and checking it out. It was kind of an interesting little piece with that little tail on it. And then I found these, and they reminded me a little bit of the Jefferson cups, I believe they are, pewter cups. One of them was monogrammed. I did not see any writing on the bottom. Usually the Jefferson, I believe they're Jefferson or maybe Revere. Usually they're marked on the bottom, so there were no markings on there. This hammered copper piece was not something I would typically pick up, but the more I stared at it, the more I was like, you know what? I kind of like that aesthetic. It's a little bit primitive, and it could easily go on a wall. I like it. Now I finally made my way into the wood section. Usually this is one of the first aisles I hit at all of my local Goodwills, but for some reason this is one of the last aisles that I hit here at this Goodwill. This was really fun. I actually remember playing with one similar to that as a child. There was a little box here. I'm thinking possibly a cigar box. I'm not sure if that was a candle holder. And this was a cow. All right, so I've made my way back over to the figurines, partly because they're restocking as I'm here. Looked at the bottom of this. I was a little interested in this because it was made in England, but I wasn't sure if there were supposed to be more pieces involved in that. It just seemed kind of lonesome, like this lone barn that needed to have like figurines or something with it. There's a giant conch shell. Conch shell? And that was an interesting plate, for sure. Now they did have a bunch of little baggies hanging up, and there was an entire baggie full of little zebra magnets. I had never seen so many zebra magnets in one place. It was quite the collection. I did not buy it. They wanted $7 for the zebra magnets, and I just really wasn't that committed to the zebras, unfortunately. Maybe if they were cats or birds, I may have considered it, but zebras are just kind of obscure. They had lots of crafting supplies. And then I made my way over to the artwork. And I was hoping that I could find some original artworks, but I really wasn't finding a whole lot there. There were two little pieces here. Obviously, they were not original artworks. Pokemon. This carved little wooden napkin holder, I believe it's a napkin holder, it looked to be a souvenir piece, and I had a hard time seeing what the back said. I think maybe because of the glare, and also probably because I was wearing my glasses on top of my head, because they would fog because of my mask. I really need to invest in some of that anti-fogging stuff that a lot of you have been talking about for my glasses, because now that I finally have them, they're constantly fogged up. It's very frustrating. Finally, we've made our way to the purses. This was the one purse that I decided to grab. It was the Elaine shop. I'm not really sure what the Elaine shop is, but it was a heavy purse and it felt like it was decent in construction. This one was also very colorful, and I'm usually drawn to the colorful purses. So I looked at this one as well, Aldo, but there was some scuffing and stuff on it, and so I just wasn't really all that sold on the scuffing, and I decided to put this one back. And I took a look through the wallets. Occasionally I will look through the wallets. I have had luck in the wallets before. I once found an Italian designer wallet. In this case, I really wasn't seeing much. There was some pebbled leather, but not much in the way of wallets, unfortunately. It was still worth a look. And here's some scarves. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, well, our total spend there was, I think, $76. I feel like we did pretty good. We got a lot of smalls and that enormous etched vase. I'm not really sure about the vase. It was just very heavy. It felt like it might be something quality, and for what I spent on it, I guess we'll see. But I think we did pretty well. I'm going to get out of here now. I've got to get home. I've got to edit today's video, which I have not done yet. But for those of you who are wondering, this is the Westminster Goodwill. That is where we were today. And we met some really great people while we were here. But we're gonna get going. And we will see all of you tomorrow. Later. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. In case you spotted something you just can't live without, we do post 25 to 30 new items in our eBay shop every single day, and I've posted a link to that down in the description.